2 Corinthians 7. 1 Therefore, because we have these promises, beloved, let us purify ourselves from all impurity of the flesh and spirit and let us cultivate holiness in the awe of Jehovah. 2 Bear with us, brethren. We have not done evil to anyone, we have not corrupted anyone, we have not cheated anyone. 3 It was not to condemn you that I spoke previously, for I said that you are in our heart to die and to live as one. 4 I have great frankness toward you and much pride in you, and I am filled with comfort, and I have a great abundance of joy in all my afflictions. 5 For from the time that we came to Macedonia, we had no relief for our body, but we were tormented in all things, combat from without and fear from within. 6 But Jehovah, he who comforts the lowly, comforted us with the coming of Titus. 7 And not only with his coming but also with that relief with which he was relieved by you, for he proclaimed to us concerning your love for us and concerning your grief and your zeal for our sakes, and when I heard, I had great joy. 8 For although I grieved you by an epistle, I have no regret, even though I was sorry, for I saw that the same epistle, though it grieved you for an hour, 9 On the other hand gave me great joy, not because you grieved for yourselves but because your grief brought you conversion, for you grieved for yourselves by that which is from Jehovah, so that you would not be harmed by us in anything. 10 For grief that is for Jehovah's sake produces a remorse of the soul which does not reverse itself and restores to life, but the grief of the world produces death. 11 For behold, this has happened because you were distressed for Jehovah's sake. How much more have I effected diligence in you, and apology, anger, fear, love, zeal and vengeance. And you revealed yourselves in all things that you are pure in this matter. 12 But this that I wrote to you will be, not because of the wrong, neither because of him who did wrong, but so that your diligence toward us might be made known in the presence of Jehovah. 13 Because of this we are comforted, and with our comfort we rejoice all the more in the joy of Titus, whose spirit was refreshed with all of you. 14 I am not ashamed in whatever I have boasted to him concerning your persons, but as we have spoken the truth in everything with you, so also our boasting to Titus was found to be in truth. 15 Also his affections are increased all the more for you as he remembers the obedience of you all, that you received him with awe and trembling. 16 I rejoice that in everything I trust in you. 2 Corinthians 8. 1 But we make known to you, brethren, the grace of Jehovah that is given to the assemblies of Macedonia. 2 For in the many trials of their afflictions there was an abundance to their joy, and the depth of their poverty was made to superabound in the wealth of their generosity. 3 For I testify that according to their power and more than their power in the willingness of their soul, for they begged us with much entreaty that they might share in the grace of the ministry of the holy ones. 5 And not according to what we had hoped, but they offered themselves to our Elohim first and also to us in the will of Jehovah. 6 That we would seek from Titus, that as he started, thus he would complete also this grace in you. 7 But just as you abound in everything, in faith, in the word, in knowledge, in all diligence and in our love for you, so also, you shall abound in this grace. 8 I am not commanding simply to give you orders, but I am testing the truth of your love with the diligence of your companions. 9 For you know the grace of our Elohim Yeshua the Messiah, who for your sake became poor, when he was rich, so that you might become rich by his poverty. 10 But to counsel, I advise you this to help you, because from last year you began, not only to purpose, but also to do. 11 Finish now by works that thing which you desire, for as you had eagerness to desire, so you should complete by works from what you have. 12 For if there is a willingness, so it is accepted according to what one has, it is not according to what one does not have. 13 For it is not that others would have relief and you would have distress. 14 But that your abundance might come together at this time with their lack of these things, so that their abundance also of those things would be for your lack, that there would be equality. 15 As it is written, he who increased took no surplus and he who took little was not deprived. 16 But thank Jehovah who gave this concern for you to the heart of Titus. 17 For he accepted our request, and because he was greatly concerned, by his desire he went out among you. 18 But we sent our brother with him, whose praise in the gospel is in all the churches. 19 In this way also he was truly chosen from the churches to go out with us in this grace of ministry from us for the glory of Jehovah and for our own encouragement. 20 But we fear in this lest anyone impute to us a flaw in this abundance that is ministered by us. 21 For we are concerned for what is right, not only before Jehovah, but also before men. 22 But we sent our brother with them, who had been proved by us, that he is diligent always in many things, but now he is all the more diligent by the trust of many concerning you. 23 If therefore Titus is my partner and helper among you, and if our other brethren are apostles of the churches of the glory of the Messiah, 24 From now on show the demonstration of your love and our pride in you among them in the presence of all the churches. 2 Corinthians 9. 1 But concerning the ministration of the saints, I make it redundant if I write to you. 2 For I knew the readiness of your minds, and because of this I boasted of you to the Macedonians that Achaia was ready from last year, and your zeal has excited many. 3 But I sent the brethren lest our boasting would be empty which we boasted about you concerning this matter, that you would be prepared. 4 Lest you come with me to Macedonia and they find you unprepared and we would be ashamed, for we would not say that you would be ashamed by that boasting which we boasted. 5 Therefore it has been taken care of by me to ask of these my brethren to come beforehand to you and to prepare the blessing, which from the first was reported that it should be prepared in this way as a blessing, not to be according to greed. 6 But this, whoever sows frugally also reaps frugally, and whoever sows with bounty shall reap with bounty. 7 Every man according to what he is in his mind and not according to grief or of compulsion, for Jehovah loves the joyful giver. 8 But Jehovah is able to multiply every favor toward you that you may always have whatever is sufficient for you in all things and that you may superabound in every good work. 9 According to what is written, he has dispersed and he has given to the poor, and his righteousness stands for eternity. 10 But he who gives seed to the sower and bread for food, he shall give and multiply your seed and increase the fruit of your righteousness. 11 That you may be enriched in all things with the entire right of an heir, that which perfects thanksgiving to Jehovah by us. 12 Because the labor of this service not only satisfies the want of the saints, but also abounds in much thanksgiving to Jehovah. 13 For because of the experience of this service, they glorify Jehovah that you submitted to the confession of the gospel of the Messiah, and you became partners in your right of heirship with them and with every person. 14 And they offer prayer for you with the love of many because of the abundance of the grace of Jehovah which is upon you. 15 But thank Jehovah for his unspeakable gift. 2 Corinthians 10. 1 But I, Paul, beg of you by the serenity and gentleness of the Messiah, although when we are present, I am gentle with you, but when I am distant, I am bold toward you. 2 But I beg of you that when I come it is not necessary for me by the boldness that I have to dare to give counsel against those persons who regard us as if we walk in the flesh. 3 For even if we do walk in the flesh, on the other hand, we do not wage war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not according to the flesh, but of the power of Jehovah, and by it we subdue rebellious fortresses. 5 And we pull down reasonings and every high thing that is exalted against the knowledge of Jehovah, and we take all minds prisoner to the obedience of the Messiah. 6 But we are prepared to execute the punishment of those who do not obey when your obedience is fulfilled. 7 Do you look upon appearances? If a man trusts upon himself that he is of the Messiah, let him know this from his soul, that as he is of the Messiah, so also are we. 8 For if I boast somewhat more of the authority that our Elohim gives to me, I am not ashamed, because he gave it to us for your edification and not for your destruction. 9 But I avoid it, lest it be supposed that I terrify you with my epistle. 10 Because there are many people who say, the letters are weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak and his speech contemptible. 11 But let him who speaks in this way consider this, that as we are in the message of our epistles when we are absent, so we are also in deeds when we are present. 12 For we dare not value or compare ourselves against those who flaunt themselves, for those among them who compare themselves are not wise. 13 But we do not boast beyond our size, but by the measure of the limits that Jehovah has distributed to us, to reach also as far as to you. 14 For it was not as if we did not arrive unto you, for we joined ourselves as far as unto you. We arrived with the gospel of the Messiah. 15 And we do not glory beyond our measure in the labor of others. We have hope that when your faith increases we shall be magnified by you according to our measure, and we shall abound. 16 We shall boast also to preach the gospel beyond you, not by measure of others whom we have already won. 17 But he who boasts, let him boast in Elohim Jehovah. 18 For it is not he who praises himself who is approved, but he whom Elohim Jehovah shall praise. 2 Corinthians 11. 1 But please be patient with me a little, while I speak foolishly, even if you are impatient with me. 2 For I am jealous over you with the jealousy of Jehovah, for I have betrothed you as a pure virgin to one man, to present to the Messiah. 3 But I fear lest, as the serpent deceived Eve by his craftiness, that your minds may also in this way be corrupted from the simplicity that is in the Messiah. 4 For if he who comes to you would preach another Yeshua to you, whom we have not preached to you, or you should receive another spirit which you have not received, or another gospel which you have not received, you may well be persuaded. 5 For I think that I have not come short in anything compared to those apostles who greatly excel. 6 For although I am simple in my speech, yet I am not in my knowledge, but we have been open with you in all things. 7 Or have I committed a crime to humble myself that you may be exalted, and to preach the gospel of Jehovah to you without charge? 8 And I robbed other assemblies and took expenses for your service. 9 And when I came among you and had need, I was not a burden to any one of you, for the brethren who came from Macedonia satisfied my want, and in everything I kept myself and shall keep, lest I be a burden to you. 10 The truth of the Messiah is in me so that this boasting shall not fail me in the region of Achaia. 11 Why? Because I do not love you. Jehovah knows. 12 But this that I do, I also shall do to cut off the accusations of those who seek a pretext, so in that by which they brag, they will be found like us. 13 For these are false apostles and treacherous workers, and they liken themselves to the apostles of the Messiah. 14 And not to wonder at this, for if he who is Satan resembles an angel of light. 15 It is not a great matter if also his ministers imitate ministers of righteousness, those whose end will be like their works. 16 But again, I say, no man should think of me as if I am a fool, otherwise, even as a fool receive me, so that I may brag a little. 17 Everything that I speak, it is not by our Elohim that I speak, but is in folly on this occasion of boasting. 18 Because many boast in the flesh, I also shall brag. 19 Are you of those who are listening to the stupid, while you are wise? 20 And do you submit to the one who is subject to you, and to him who embezzles you, and to him who takes from you, and to him who exalts himself over you, and to him who strikes you on your face? 21 I speak as one in dishonor, as if we are poor through stupidity. I say that in all things that a man presumes, I also presume. 22 If they are Hebrews, I am also; if they are Israelites, I am also; if they are the seed of Abraham, I am also. 23 If they are ministers of the Messiah, in stupidity I say that I am greater than they, in more toil than they, with more wounds than they, in chains more than they, in death many times. 24 And I have been whipped by the Judeans 5 times with 40 stripes minus 1. 25 3 times I have been scourged with rods, 1 time I was stoned, 3 times I have been shipwrecked, a day and a night I have been in the sea without a ship, 26 On many journeys, in dangers of rivers, in dangers of robbers, in dangers from my kindred, in dangers from the Gentiles, in dangers in the city, in dangers in the desert, in dangers in the sea, in dangers by false brethren, 27 In toil and in fatigue, in many vigils, in hunger and in thirst, in many fasts, in cold and in nakedness. 28 Aside from much more, the crowds who are with me every day, and my care which I have in my person for all the churches. 29 Who is suffering, and I do not suffer? Who has been subverted and I do not burn? 30 If it is fitting to boast, I shall boast in my sufferings. 31 Jehovah the Father of our Elohim Yeshua the Messiah, blessed to the eternity of eternities, knows that I do not lie. 32 In Dramsuk, the captain of the army of Aretas, the king, was guarding the city of the Damascenes to seize me. 33 And from a window in a basket they lowered me from a wall, and I escaped from their hands. Numbers 16. 1 And Kor the son of Isar the son of Koth the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, and On the son of Phaleth the son of Reuben, spoke, 2 And rose up before Moses, and 250 men of the sons of Israel, chiefs of the assembly, chosen counselors, and men of renown. 3 They rose up against Moses and Aaron, and said, Let it be enough for you that all the congregation are holy, and Elohim is among them, and why do ye set up yourselves against the congregation of Elohim? 4 And when Moses heard it, he fell on his face. 5 And he spoke to Kor and all his assembly, saying, Jehovah has visited and known those that are his and who are holy, and has brought them to himself, and whom he has chosen for himself, he has brought to himself. 6 This do ye, take to yourselves censers, Kor and all his company. 7 And put fire on them, and put incense on them before Elohim tomorrow, and it shall come to pass that the man whom Elohim has chosen, he shall be holy, let it be enough for you, ye sons of Levi. 8 And Moses said to Kor, Hearken to me, ye sons of Levi. 9 Is it a little thing for you, that the Jehovah of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel, and brought you near to himself to minister in the services of the tabernacle of Elohim, and to stand before the tabernacle to minister for them? 10 And he has brought thee near and all thy brethren the sons of Levi with thee, and do ye seek to be priests also? 11 Thus it is with thee and all thy congregation which is gathered together against Jehovah, and who is Aaron, that ye murmur against him. 12 And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram sons of Eliab, and they said, We will not go up. 13 Is it a little thing that thou hast brought us up to a land flowing with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, and that thou altogether rulest over us? 14 Thou art a prince, and hast thou brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, and hast thou given us an inheritance of land and vineyards. Wouldest thou have put out the eyes of those men? We will not go up. 15 And Moses was exceeding indignant, and said to Elohim, Do thou take no heed to their sacrifice, I have not taken away the desire of any one of them, neither have I hurt any one of them. 16 And Moses said to Kor, Sanctify thy company, and be ready before Elohim, thou and Aaron and they, tomorrow. 17 And take each man his censer, and ye shall put incense upon them, and shall bring each one his censer before Elohim, 250 censers, and thou and Aaron shall bring each his censer. 18 And each man took his censer, and they put on them fire, and laid incense on them, and Moses and Aaron stood by the doors of the tabernacle of witness. 19 And Kor raised up against them all his company by the door of the tabernacle of witness, and the glory of Elohim appeared to all the congregation. 20 And Elohim spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, 21 Separate yourselves from the midst of this congregation, and I will consume them at once. 22 And they fell on their faces, and said, O Jehovah, the Jehovah of spirits and of all flesh, if one man has sinned, shall the wrath of Elohim be upon the whole congregation. 23 And Elohim spoke to Moses, saying, 24 Speak to the congregation, saying, Depart from the company of Kor round about. 25 And Moses rose up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and all the elders of Israel went with him. 26 And he spoke to the congregation, saying, Separate yourselves from the tents of these stubborn men, and touch nothing that belongs to them, lest ye be consumed with them in all their sin. 27 And they stood aloof from the tent of Kor round about, and Dathan and Abiram went forth and stood by the doors of their tents, and their wives and their children and their store. 28 And Moses said, Hereby shall ye know that Elohim has sent me to perform all these works, that I have not done them of myself. 29 If these men shall die according to the death of all men, if also their visitation shall be according to the visitation of all men, then Elohim has not sent me. 30 But if Elohim shall show by a wonder, and the earth shall open her mouth and swallow them up, and their houses, and their tents, and all that belongs to them, and they shall go down alive into Hades, then ye shall know that these men have provoked Elohim. 31 And when he ceased speaking all these words, the ground clave asunder beneath them. 32 And the ground opened, and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that were with Kor, and their cattle. 33 And they went down and all that they had, alive into Hades, and the ground covered them, and they perished from the midst of the congregation. 34 And all Israel round about them fled from the sound of them, for they said, Lest the earth swallow us up also. 35 And fire went forth from Elohim, and devoured the 250 men that offered incense. 36 And Elohim said to Moses. 37 And to Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest, Take up the brazen censers out of the midst of the men that have been burnt, and scatter the strange fire yonder, for they have sanctified the censers 38 of these sinners against their own souls, and do thou make them beaten plates a covering to the altar, because they were brought before Elohim and hallowed, and they became a sign to the children of Israel. 39 And Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest took the brazen censers, which the men who had been burnt brought near, and they put them as a covering on the altar, 40 A memorial to the children of Israel that no stranger might draw nigh, who is not of the seed of Aaron, to offer incense before Elohim, so he shall not be as Kor and as they that conspired with him, as Elohim spoke to him by the hand of Moses. 41 And the children of Israel murmured the next day against Moses and Aaron, saying, Ye have killed the people of Elohim. 42 And it came to pass when the congregation combined against Moses and Aaron, that they ran impetuously to the tabernacle of witness, and the cloud covered it, and the glory of Elohim appeared. 43 And Moses and Aaron went in front of the tabernacle of witness. 44 And Elohim spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, 45 Depart out of the midst of this congregation, and I will consume them at once, and they fell upon their faces. 46 And Moses said to Aaron, Take a censer, and put on it fire from the altar, and put incense on it, and carry it away quickly into the camp, and make atonement for them, for wrath is gone forth from the presence of Elohim, it has begun to destroy the people. 47 And Aaron took as Moses spoke to him, and ran among the congregation, for already the plague had begun among the people, and he put on incense, and made an atonement for the people. 48 And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague ceased. 49 And they that died in the plague were 14,700, besides those that died on account of Kor. 50 And Aaron returned to Moses to the door of the tabernacle of witness, and the plague ceased. Numbers 17. 1 And Elohim spoke to Moses, saying, 2 Speak to the children of Israel, and take rods of them, according to the houses of their families, a rod from all their princes, according to the houses of their families, 12 rods, and write the name of each on his rod. 3 And write the name of Aaron on the rod of Levi, for it is 1 rod for each, they shall give them according to the tribe of the house of their families. 4 And thou shalt put them in the tabernacle of witness, before the testimony, where I will be made known to thee. 5 And it shall be, the man whom I shall choose, his rod shall blossom, and I will remove from me the murmuring of the children of Israel, which they murmur against you. 6 And Moses spoke to the children of Israel, and all their chiefs gave him a rod each, for one chief a rod, according to the house of their families, 12 rods, and the rod of Aaron was in the midst of the rods. 7 And Moses laid up the rods before Elohim in the tabernacle of witness. 8 And it came to pass on the morrow, that Moses and Aaron went into the tabernacle of witness, and, behold, the rod of Aaron for the house of Levi blossomed, and put forth a bud, and bloomed blossoms and produced almonds. 9 And Moses brought forth all the rods from before Elohim to all the sons of Israel, and they looked, and each one took his rod. 10 And Elohim said to Moses, Lay up the rod of Aaron before the testimonies to be kept as a sign for the children of the disobedient, and let their murmuring cease from me, and they shall not die. 11 And Moses and Aaron did as Elohim commanded Moses, so did they. 12 And the children of Israel spoke to Moses, saying, Behold, we are cut off, we are destroyed, we are consumed. 13 Every one that touches the tabernacle of Elohim dies, shall we die utterly. Numbers 18. 1 And Elohim spoke to Aaron, saying, Thou and thy sons and thy father's house shall bear the sins of the holy things, and thou and thy sons shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood. 2 And take to thyself thy brethren the tribe of Levi, the family of thy father, and let them be joined to thee, and let them minister to thee, and thou and thy sons with thee shall minister before the tabernacle of witness. 3 And they shall keep thy charges, and the charges of the tabernacle, only they shall not approach the holy vessels and the altar, so both they and you shall not die. 4 And they shall be joined to thee, and shall keep the charges of the tabernacle of witness, in all the services of the tabernacle, and a stranger shall not approach to thee. 5 And ye shall keep the charges of the holy things, and the charges of the altar, and so there shall not be anger among the children of Israel. 6 And I have taken your brethren the Levites out of the midst of the children of Israel, a present given to Elohim, to minister in the services of the tabernacle of witness. 7 And thou and thy sons after thee shall keep up your priestly ministration, according to the whole manner of the altar, and that which is within the veil, and ye shall minister in the services as the office of your priesthood, and the stranger that comes near shall die. 8 And Elohim said to Aaron, And, behold, I have given you the charge of the first fruits of all things consecrated to me by the children of Israel, and I have given them to thee as an honor, and to thy sons after thee for a perpetual ordinance. 9 And let this be to you from all the holy things that are consecrated to me, even the burnt offerings, from all their gifts, and from all their sacrifices, and from every trespass offering of theirs, and from all their sin offerings, whatever things they give to me of all their holy things, they shall be thine and thy sons. 10 In the most holy place shall ye eat them, every male shall eat them, thou and thy sons, they shall be holy to thee. 11 And this shall be to you of the first fruits of their gifts, of all the wave offerings of the children of Israel, to thee have I given them and to thy sons and thy daughters with thee, a perpetual ordinance, every clean person in thy house shall eat them. 12 Every first offering of oil, and every first offering of wine, their first fruits of corn, whatsoever they may give to Elohim, to thee have I given them. 13 All the first fruits that are in their land, whatsoever they shall offer to Elohim, shall be thine, every clean person in thy house shall eat them. 14 Every devoted thing among the children of Israel shall be thine. 15 And everything that opens the womb of all flesh whatsoever they bring to Elohim, whether man or beast, shall be thine, only the firstborn of men shall be surely redeemed, and thou shalt redeem the firstborn of unclean cattle. 16 And the redemption of them shall be from a month old, their valuation of 5 shekels, it is 20 oboli according to the holy shekel. 17 But thou shalt not redeem the firstborn of calves and the firstborn of sheep and the firstborn of goats, they are holy, and thou shalt pour their blood upon the altar, and thou shalt offer the fat as a burnt offering for a smell of sweet savor to Elohim. 18 And the flesh shall be thine, as also the breast of the wave offering and as the right shoulder, it shall be thine. 19 Every special offering of the holy things, whatsoever the children of Israel shall specially offer to Elohim, I have given to thee and to thy sons and to thy daughters with thee, a perpetual ordinance, it is a covenant of salt forever before Elohim, for thee and thy seed after thee. 20 And Elohim said to Aaron, Thou shalt have no inheritance in their land, neither shalt thou have any portion among them, for I am thy portion and thine inheritance in the midst of the children of Israel. 21 And, behold, I have given to the sons of Levi every tithe in Israel for an inheritance for their services, whereinsoever they perform ministry in the tabernacle of witness. 22 And the children of Israel shall no more draw nigh to the tabernacle of witness to incur fatal guilt. 23 And the Levite himself shall perform the service of the tabernacle of witness, and they shall bear their iniquities, it is a perpetual statute throughout their generations, and in the midst of the children of Israel they shall not receive an inheritance. 24 Because I have given as a distinct portion to the Levites for an inheritance the tithes of the children of Israel, whatsoever they shall offer to Elohim, therefore I said to them, in the midst of the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance. 25 And Elohim spoke to Moses, saying, 26 Thou shalt also speak to the Levites, and shalt say to them, If ye take the tithe from the children of Israel, which I have given you from them for an inheritance, then shall ye separate from it a heave offering to Elohim, a tenth of the tenth. 27 And your heave offerings shall be reckoned to you as corn from the floor, and an offering from the wine press. 28 So shall ye also separate them from all the offerings of Elohim out of all your tithes whatsoever ye shall receive from the children of Israel, and ye shall give of them an offering to Elohim to Aaron the priest. 29 Of all your gifts ye shall offer an offering to Elohim, and of every first fruit the consecrated part from it. 30 And thou shalt say to them, When ye shall offer the first fruits from it, then shall it be reckoned to the Levites as produce from the threshing floor, and as produce from the wine press. 31 And ye shall eat it in any place, ye and your families, for this is your reward for your services in the tabernacle of witness. 32 And ye shall not bear sin by reason of it, for ye shall have offered an offering of first fruits from it, and ye shall not profane the holy things of the children of Israel, that ye die not. Jeremiah 18. 1 The word that came from Elohim to 2 Jeremiah's, saying, Arise, and go down to the potter's house, and there thou shalt hear my words. 3 So I went down to the potter's house, and behold, he was making a vessel on the stones. 4 And the vessel which he was making with his hands fell, so he made it again another vessel, as it seemed good to him to make it. 5 And the word of Elohim came to me, saying, 6 Shall I not be able, O house of Israel, to do to you as this potter? Behold, as the clay of the potter are ye in my hands. 7 If I shall pronounce a decree upon a nation, or upon a kingdom, to cut them off, and to destroy them, 8 And that nation turn from all their sins, then will I repent of the evils which I purpose to do to them. 9 And if I shall pronounce a decree upon a nation and kingdom, to rebuild and to plant it, 10 And they do evil before me, so as not to hearken to my voice, then will I repent of the good which I spoke of, to do it to them. 11 And now say to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, Behold, I prepare evils against you, and devise a device against you, let every one turn now from his evil way, and amend your practices. 12 And they said, We will quit ourselves like men, for we will pursue our perverse ways, and we will perform each the lusts of his evil heart. 13 Therefore thus saith Elohim, Inquire now among the nations, who has heard such very horrible things as the Virgin of Israel has done. 14 Will fertilizing streams fail to flow from a rock, or snow fail from Libanus? Will water violently impelled by the wind turn aside? 15 For my people have forgotten me, they have offered incense in vain, and they fail in their ways, leaving the ancient tracks, to enter upon impassable paths. 16 To make their land a desolation, and a perpetual hissing, all that go through it shall be amazed, and shall shake their heads. 17 I will scatter them before their enemies like an east wind, I will show them the day of their destruction. 18 Then they said, Come, and let us devise a device against Jeremias, for the law shall not perish from the priest, nor counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet. Come, and let us smite him with the tongue, and we will hear all his words. 19 Hear me, O Elohim, and hear the voice of my pleading. 20 For as much as evil is rewarded for good, for they have spoken words against my soul, and they have hidden the punishment they meant for me, remember that I stood before thy face, to speak good for them, to turn away thy wrath from them. 21 Therefore do thou deliver their sons to famine, and gather them to the power of the sword, let their women be childless and widows, and let their men be cut off by death, and their young men fall by the sword in war. 22 Let there be a cry in their houses, thou shalt bring upon them robbers suddenly, for they have formed a plan to take me, and have hidden snares for me. 23 And thou, Elohim, knowest all their deadly counsel against me, account not their iniquities guiltless, and blot not out their sins from before thee, let their weakness come before thee, deal with them in the time of thy wrath. Jeremiah 19. 1 Then said Elohim to me, Go and get an earthen bottle, the work of the potter, and thou shalt bring some of the elders of the people, and of the priests, 2 And thou shalt go forth to the burial place of the sons of their children, which is at the entrance of the gate of Charseth, and do thou read there all these words which I shall speak to thee. 3 And thou shalt say to them, Hear ye the word of Elohim, ye kings of Judah, and men of Judah, and the dwellers in Jerusalem, and they that enter in by these gates. Thus saith Elohim Yehovah of Israel, Behold, I will bring evil upon this place, so that the ears of every one that hears it shall tingle. 4 Because they forsook me, and profaned this place, and burnt incense in it to strange gods, which they and their fathers knew not, and the kings of Judah have filled this place with innocent blood. 5 And built high places for Baal, to burn their children in the fire, which things I commanded not, neither did I design them in my heart. 6 Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Elohim, when this place shall no more be called, the fall and burial place of the son of Enom, but, the burial place of slaughter. 7 And I will destroy the counsel of Judah and the counsel of Jerusalem in this place, and I will cast them down with the sword before their enemies, and by the hands of them that seek their lives, and I will give their dead bodies for food to the birds of the sky and to the wild beasts of the earth. 8 And I will bring this city to desolation and make it a hissing, every one that passes by it shall scowl, and hiss because of all her plague. 9 And they shall eat the flesh of their sons, and the flesh of their daughters, and they shall eat every one the flesh of his neighbor in the blockade, and in the siege wherewith their enemies shall besiege them. 10 And thou shalt break the bottle in the sight of the men that go forth with thee. 11 And thou shalt say, Thus saith Elohim, Thus will I break in pieces this people, and this city, even as an earthen vessel is broken in pieces which cannot be mended again. 12 Thus will I do, saith Elohim, to this place, and to the inhabitants of it, that this city may be given up, as one that is falling to ruin. 13 And the houses of Jerusalem, and the houses of the kings of Judah shall be as a ruinous place, because of their uncleannesses in all the houses, wherein they burnt incense upon their roofs to all the host of heaven, and poured drink offerings to strange gods. 14 And Jeremias came from the place of the fall, whither Elohim had sent him to prophesy, and he stood in the court of Elohim's house, and said to all the people, Thus saith Elohim. 15 Behold I bring upon this city, and upon all the cities belonging to it, and upon the villages of it, all the evils which I have spoken against it, because they have hardened their neck that they might not hearken to my commands. Jeremiah 20. 1 Now Paschur the son of Immer, the priest, who also had been appointed chief of the house of Elohim, heard Jeremias prophesying these words. 2 And he smote him, and cast him into the dungeon which was by the gate of the upper house that was set apart, which was by the house of Elohim. 3 And Paschur brought Jeremias out of the dungeon, and Jeremias said to him, Elohim has not called thy name Paschur, but Exile. 4 For thus saith Elohim, Behold, I will give thee up to captivity with all thy friends, and they shall fall by the sword of their enemies, and thine eyes shall see it, and I will give thee and all Judah into the hands of the king of Babylon, and they shall carry them captives, and cut them in pieces with swords. 5 And I will give all the strength of this city, and all the labors of it, and all the treasures of the king of Judah, into the hands of his enemies, and they shall bring them to Babylon. 6 And thou and all the dwellers in thine house shall go into captivity, and thou shalt die in Babylon, and there thou and all thy friends shall be buried, to whom thou hast prophesied lies. 7 Thou hast deceived me, O Elohim, and I have been deceived, thou hast been strong, and hast prevailed, I am become a laughing stock, I am continually mocked every day. 8 For I will laugh with my bitter speech, I will call upon rebellion and misery, for the word of Elohim has become a reproach to me and a mockery all my days. 9 Then I said, I will by no means name the name of Elohim, and I will no more at all speak in his name. But it was a burning fire flaming in my bones, and I am utterly weakened on all sides, and cannot bear up. 10 For I have heard the reproach of many gathering round, saying, Conspire ye, and let us conspire together against him, even all his friends, watch his intentions, if perhaps he shall be deceived, and we shall prevail against him, and we shall be avenged on him. 11 But Elohim was with me as a mighty man of war, therefore they persecuted me, but could not perceive anything against me, they were greatly confounded, for they perceived not their disgrace, which shall never be forgotten. 12 O Elohim, that provest just deeds, understanding the reins and hearts, let me see thy vengeance upon them, for to thee I have revealed my cause. 13 Sing ye to Elohim, sing praise to him, for he has rescued the soul of the poor from the hand of evildoers. 14 Cursed be the day wherein I was born, the day wherein my mother brought me forth, let it not be blessed. 15 Cursed be the man who brought the glad tidings to my father, saying, A male child is born to thee. 16 Let that man rejoice as the cities which Elohim overthrew in wrath, and repented not, let him hear crying in the morning, and loud lamentation at noon. 17 Because he slew me not in the womb, and my mother became not my tomb, and her womb always great with me. 18 Why is it that I came forth of the womb to see troubles and distresses, and my days are spent in shame? Jeremiah 21. 1 The word that came from Elohim to Jeremias, when King Sedekias sent to him Paschor the son of Melchias, and Sophonias son of Basaeas, the priest, saying, To inquire of Elohim for us, for the king of Babylon has risen up against us, if Elohim will do according to all his wonderful works, and the king shall depart from us. 3 And Jeremias said to them, Thus shall ye say to Sedekias king of Judah. For thus saith Elohim, Behold, I will turn back the weapons of war wherewith ye fight against the Chaldeans that have besieged you from outside the wall, and I will gather them into the midst of this city. 5 And I will fight against you with an outstretched hand and with a strong arm, with wrath and great anger. 6 And I will smite all the dwellers in this city, both men and cattle, with grievous pestilence, and they shall die. 7 And after this, thus saith Elohim, I will give Sedekias king of Judah, and his servants, and the people that is left in this city from the pestilence, and from the famine, and from the sword, into the hands of their enemies, that seek their lives, and they shall cut them in pieces with the edge of the sword. I will not spare them, and I will not have compassion upon them. 8 And thou shalt say to this people, Thus saith Elohim, Behold, I have set before you the way of life, and the way of death. 9 He that remains in this city shall die by the sword, and by famine, but he that goes forth to advance to the Chaldeans that have besieged you, shall live, and his life shall be to him for a spoil, and he shall live. 10 For I have set my face against this city for evil, and not for good, it shall be delivered into the hands of the king of Babylon, and he shall consume it with fire. 11 O house of the king of Judah, hear ye the word of Elohim. 12 O house of David, thus saith Elohim, Judge judgment in the morning, and act rightly, and rescue the spoiled one from the hand of him that wrongs him, lest mine anger be kindled like fire, and it burn, and there be none to quench it. 13 Behold, I am against thee that dwellest in the valley of Sor, in the plain country, even against them that say, Who shall alarm us? Or who shall enter into our habitation? 14 And I will kindle a fire in the forest thereof, and it shall devour all things round about it. Jeremiah 22. 1 Thus saith Elohim, Go thou, and go down to the house of the king of Judah, and thou shalt speak there this word. 2 And thou shalt say, Hear the word of Elohim, O king of Judah, that sittest on the throne of David, thou, and thy house, and thy people, and they that go in at these gates. 3 Thus saith Elohim, Execute ye judgment and justice, and rescue the spoiled out of the hand of him that wrongs him, and oppress not the stranger, and orphan, and widow, and sin not, and shed no innocent blood in this place. 4 For if ye will indeed perform this word, then shall there enter in by the gates of this house kings sitting upon the throne of David, and riding on chariots and horses, they, and their servants, and their people. 5 But if ye will not perform these words, by myself have I sworn, saith Elohim, that this house shall be brought to desolation. 6 For thus saith Elohim concerning the house of the king of Judah, Thou art Galaad to me, and the head of Libanus, yet surely I will make thee a desert, even cities that shall not be inhabited. 7 And I will bring upon thee a destroying man, and his axe, and they shall cut down thy choice cedars, and cast them into the fire. 8 And nations shall pass through this city, and each shall say to his neighbor, Why has Elohim done thus to this great city? 9 And they shall say because they forsook the covenant of Elohim their Jehovah, and worshipped strange gods, and served them. 10 Weep not for the dead, nor lament for him, weep bitterly for him that goes away, for he shall return no more, nor see his native land. 11 For thus saith Elohim concerning Selam the son of Hoseas, who reigns in the place of Hoseas his father, who has gone forth out of this place, he shall not return thither any more. 12 But in that place whither I have carried him captive, there shall he die, and shall see this land no more. 13 He that builds his house not with justice, and his upper chambers not with judgment, who works by means of his neighbor for nothing, and will by no means give him his reward. 14 Thou hast built for thyself a well-proportioned house, airy chambers, fitted with windows, and wainscoted with cedar, and painted with vermilion. 15 Shalt thou reign, because thou art provoked with thy father Achaz. They shall not eat, and they shall not drink, it is better for thee to execute judgment and justice. 16 They understood not, they judged not the cause of the afflicted, nor the cause of the poor, is not this thy not knowing me? Saith Elohim. 17 Behold, thine eyes are not good, nor thine heart, but they go after thy covetousness, and after the innocent blood to shed it, and after acts of injustice and slaughter, to commit them. 18 Therefore thus saith Elohim concerning Joachim son of Hoseas, king of Judah, even concerning this man, they shall not bewail him, saying, Ah brother. Neither shall they at all weep for him, saying, Alas Elohim. 19 He shall be buried with the burial of an ass, he shall be dragged roughly along and cast outside the gate of Jerusalem. 20 Go up to Libanus, and cry, and utter thy voice to Basan, and cry aloud to the extremity of the sea, for all thy lovers are destroyed. 21 I spoke to thee on occasion of thy trespass, but thou saidst, I will not hearken. This has been thy way from thy youth, thou hast not hearkened to my voice. 22 The wind shall tend all thy shepherds, and thy lovers shall go into captivity, for then shalt thou be ashamed and disgraced because of all thy lovers. 23 O thou that dwellest in Libanus, making thy nest in the cedars, thou shalt groan heavily, when pangs as of a travailing woman are come upon thee. 24 As I lived, saith Elohim, though Jeconiah son of Joachim king of Judah were indeed the seal upon my right hand, thence would I pluck thee. 25 And I will deliver thee into the hands of them that seek thy life, before whom thou art afraid, into the hands of the Chaldeans. 26 And I will cast forth thee, and thy mother that bore thee, into a land where thou wast not born, and there ye shall die. 27 But they shall by no means return to the land which they long for in their souls. 28 Jeconiah is dishonored as a good-for-nothing vessel, for he is thrown out and cast forth into a land which he knew not. 29 Land, hear the word of Elohim. 30 Write ye this man an outcast, for there shall none of his seed at all grow up to sit on the throne of David, or as a prince yet in Judah. Jeremiah 23. 1 Woe to the shepherds that destroy and scatter the sheep of their pasture. 2 Therefore thus saith Elohim against them that tend my people, ye have scattered my sheep, and driven them out, and ye have not visited them, behold, I will take vengeance upon you according to your evil practices. 3 And I will gather in the remnant of my people in every land, whither I have driven them out, and will set them in their pasture, and they shall increase and be multiplied. 4 And I will raise up shepherds to them, who shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be alarmed, saith Elohim. 5 Behold, the days come, saith Elohim, when I will raise up to David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and understand, and shall execute judgment and righteousness on the earth. 6 In his days both Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell securely, and this is his name, which Elohim shall call him, Josdik among the prophets. 7 Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Elohim, when they shall no more say, Elohim lives, who brought up the house of Israel out of the land of Egypt. 8 But Elohim lives, who has gathered the whole seed of Israel from the north land, and from all the countries whither he had driven them out, and has restored them into their own land. 9 My heart is broken within me, all my bones are shaken, I am become as a broken down man, and as a man overcome with wine, because of Elohim, and because of the excellence of his glory. 10 For because of these things the land mourns, the pastures of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is become evil, and so also their strength. 11 For priest and prophet are defiled, and I have seen their iniquities in my house. 12 Therefore let their way be to them slippery and dark, and they shall be tripped up and fall in it, for I will bring evils upon them, in the year of their visitation. 13 And in the prophets of Samaria I have seen lawless deeds, they prophesied by Baal, and led my people Israel astray. 14 Also in the prophets of Jerusalem I have seen horrible things, as they committed adultery, and walked in lies, and strengthened the hands of many, that they should not return each from his evil way, they are all become to me as Sodom, and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah. 15 Therefore thus saith Elohim, Behold, I will feed them with pain, and give them bitter water to drink, for from the prophets of Jerusalem has defilement gone forth into all the land. 16 Thus saith Elohim Almighty, Hearken not to the words of the prophets, for they frame a vain vision for themselves, they speak from their own heart, and not from the mouth of Elohim. 17 They say to them that reject the word of Elohim, There shall be peace to you, and to all that walk after their own lusts, and to everyone that walks in the error of his heart, they have said, No evil shall come upon thee. 18 For who has stood in the counsel of Elohim, and seen his word? Who has hearkened, and heard? 19 Behold, there is an earthquake from Elohim, and anger proceeds to a convulsion, it shall come violently upon the ungodly. 20 And Elohim's wrath shall return no more, until he have accomplished it, and until he have established it, according to the purpose of his heart, at the end of the days they shall understand it. 21 I sent not the prophets, yet they ran, neither spoke I to them, yet they prophesied. 22 But if they had stood in my counsel, and if they had hearkened to my words, then would they have turned my people from their evil practices. 23 I am Jehovah nigh at hand, saith Elohim, and not Jehovah afar off. 24 Shall any one hide himself in secret places, and I not see him? Do I not fill heaven and earth? Saith Elohim. 25 I have heard what the prophets say, what they prophesy in my name, saying falsely, I have seen a night vision. 26 How long shall these things be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies, when they prophesy the purposes of their own heart? 27 Who devise that men may forget my law by their dreams, which they have told every one to his neighbor, as their fathers forgot my name in the worship of Baal. 28 The prophet who has a dream, let him tell his dream, and he in whom is my word spoken to him, let him tell my word truly, what is the chaff to the corn? So are my words, saith Elohim. 29 Behold, are not my words as fire? Saith Elohim, and as an axe cutting the rock. 30 Behold, I am therefore against the prophets, saith Elohim Jehovah, that steal my words every one from his neighbor. 31 Behold, I am against the prophets that put forth prophecies of mere words, and slumber their sleep. 32 Therefore, behold, I am against the prophets that prophesy false dreams, and have not told them truly, and have caused my people to err by their lies, and by their errors, yet I sent them not, and commanded them not, therefore, they shall not profit this people at all. 33 And if this people, or the priest, or the prophet, should ask, What is the burden of Elohim? Then thou shalt say to them, Ye are the burden, and I will dash you down, saith Elohim. 34 As for the prophet, and the priests, and the people, who shall say, The burden of Elohim, I will even take vengeance on that man, and on his house. 35 Thus shall ye say every one to his neighbor, and every one to his brother, What has Elohim answered? And, What has Elohim said? 36 And do ye name no more the burden of Elohim, for his own word shall be a man's burden. 37 But wherefore, say ye, has Elohim our Jehovah spoken? 38 Therefore thus saith Elohim our Jehovah, because ye have spoken this word, the burden of Elohim, and I sent to you, saying, Ye shall not say, the burden of Elohim. 39 Therefore, behold, I will seize, and dash down you and the city which I gave to you and your fathers. 40 And I will bring upon you an everlasting reproach, an everlasting disgrace, which shall not be forgotten. Jeremiah 24. 1 Elohim showed me 2 baskets of figs, lying in front of the temple of Elohim, after Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon had carried captive Jeconiah son of Joachim king of Judah, and the princes, and the artificers, and the prisoners, and the rich men out of Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babylon. 2 The one basket was full of very good figs, as the early figs, and the other basket was full of very bad figs, which could not be eaten, for their badness. 3 And Elohim said to me, What seest thou, Jeremiah? And I said, Figs, the good figs, very good, and the bad, very bad, which cannot be eaten, for their badness. 4 And the word of Elohim came to me, saying, 5 Thus saith Elohim, the Jehovah of Israel, as these good figs, so will I acknowledge the Jews that have been carried away captive, whom I have sent forth out of this place into the land of the Chaldeans for good. 6 And I will fix mine eyes upon them for good, and I will restore them into this land for good, and I will build them up, and not pull them down, and I will plant them, and not pluck them up. 7 And I will give them a heart to know me, that I am Elohim, and they shall be to me a people, and I will be to them a Jehovah, for they shall turn to me with all their heart. 8 And as the bad figs, which cannot be eaten, for their badness, thus saith Elohim, so will I deliver Zedekias king of Judah, and his nobles, and the remnant of Jerusalem, them that are left in this land, and the dwellers in Egypt. 9 And I will cause them to be dispersed into all the kingdoms of the earth, and they shall be for a reproach, and a proverb, and an object of hatred, and a curse, in every place whither I have driven them out. 10 And I will send against them famine, and pestilence, and the sword, until they are consumed from off the land which I gave them. Jeremiah 25. 1 The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah in the 4th year of Joachim, son of Hoseas, king of Judah, to which he spoke to all the people of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, 3 In the 13th year of Hoseas, son of Amos, king of Judah, even until this day for 23 years, I have both spoken to you, rising early and speaking. 4 And I sent to you my servants the prophets, sending them early, but ye hearkened not, and listened not with your ears winking faced, saying, 5 Turn ye every one from his evil way, and from your evil practices, and ye shall dwell in the land which I gave to you and your fathers, of old and forever. 6 Go ye not after strange gods, to serve them, and to worship them, that ye provoke me not by the works of your hands, to do you hurt. 7 But ye hearkened not to me. 8 Therefore thus saith Elohim, since ye believed not my words. 9 Behold, I will send and take a family from the north, and will bring them against this land, and against the inhabitants of it, and against all the nations round about it, and I will make them utterly waste, and make them a desolation, and a hissing, and an everlasting reproach. 10 And I will destroy from among them the voice of joy, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, the scent of ointment, and the light of a candle. 11 And all the land shall be a desolation, and they shall serve among the Gentiles 70 years. 12 And when the 70 years are fulfilled, I will take vengeance on that nation, and will make them a perpetual desolation. 13 And I will bring upon that land all my words which I have spoken against it, even all things that are written in this book. 15 Thus said Elohim Jehovah of Israel, Take the cup of this unmixed wine from mine hand, and thou shalt cause all the nations to drink, to whom I send thee. 16 And they shall drink, and vomit, and be mad, because of the sword which I send among them. 17 So I took the cup out of Elohim's hand, and caused the nations to whom Elohim sent me to drink, 18 Jerusalem, and the cities of Judah, and the kings of Judah, and his princes, to make them a desert place, a desolation, and a hissing, 19 And Pharaoh king of Egypt, and his servants, and his nobles, and all his people, 20 And all the mingled people, and all the kings of the Philistines, and Askelon, and Gaza, and Akern, and the remnant of Azotus, 21 And Idumea, and the land of Moab, and the children of Ammon. 22 And the kings of Tyre, and the kings of Sidon, and the kings in the country beyond the sea, 23 And Dedan, and Teman, and Ros, and every one that is shaved round about the face, 24 And all the mingled people lodging in the wilderness, 25 And all the kings of Elam, and all the kings of the Persians. 26 And all the kings from the north, the far and the near, each one with his brother, and all the kingdoms which are on the face of the earth. 27 And thou shalt say to them, Thus said Elohim Almighty, Drink ye, be ye drunken, and ye shall vomit, and shall fall, and shall in no wise rise, because of the sword which I send among you. 28 And it shall come to pass, when they refuse to take the cup out of thine hand, to drink it, that thou shalt say, Thus said Elohim, Ye shall surely drink. 29 For I am beginning to afflict the city whereon my name is called, and ye shall by no means be held guiltless, for I am calling a sword upon all that dwell upon the earth. 30 And thou shalt prophesy against them these words, and shalt say, Elohim shall speak from on high, from his sanctuary he will utter his voice, he will pronounce a declaration on his place, and these shall answer like men gathering grapes, and destruction is coming on them that dwell on the earth. 31 Even upon the extreme part of the earth, for Elohim has a controversy with the nations, he is pleading with all flesh, and the ungodly are given to the sword, saith Elohim. 32 Thus said Elohim, Behold, evils are proceeding from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind goes forth from the end of the earth. 33 And the slain of Elohim shall be in the day of Elohim from one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth, they shall not be buried, they shall be as dung on the face of the earth. 34 Howl, ye shepherds, and cry, and lament, ye rams of the flock, for your days have been completed for slaughter, and ye shall fall as the choice rams. 35 And flight shall perish from the shepherds, and safety from the rams of the flock. 36 A voice of the crying of the shepherds, and a moaning of the sheep and the rams, for Elohim has destroyed their pastures. 37 And the peaceable abodes that remain shall be destroyed before the fierceness of my anger. 38 He has forsaken his lair, as a lion, for their land is become desolate before the great sword. Jeremiah 26. 1 In the beginning of the reign of King Joachim son of Hoseas there came this word from Elohim. 2 Thus said Elohim, stand in the court of Elohim's house, and thou shalt declare to all the Jews, and to all that come to worship in the house of Elohim, all the words which I commanded thee to speak to them, abate not one word. 3 Peradventure they will hear, and turn every one from his evil way, then I will cease from the evils which I purpose to do to them, because of their evil practices. 4 And thou shalt say, Thus said Elohim, if ye will not hearken to me, to walk in my statutes which I set before you. 5 To hearken to the words of my servants the prophets, whom I sent to you early in the morning, yea, I sent them, but ye hearkened not to me. 6 Then will I make this house as Silo, and I will make this city a curse to all the nations of all the earth. 7 And the priests, and the false prophets, and all the people heard Jeremiah speaking these words in the house of Elohim. 8 And it came to pass, when Jeremiah had ceased speaking all that Elohim had ordered him to speak to all the people, that the priests and the false prophets and all the people took him, saying, 9 Thou shalt surely die, because thou hast prophesied in the name of Elohim, saying, This house shall be as Silo, and this city shall be made quite destitute of inhabitants. And all the people assembled against Jeremiah in the house of Elohim. 10 And the princes of Judah heard this word, and they went up out of the house of the king to the house of Elohim, and sat in the entrance of the new gate. 11 Then the priests and the false prophets said to the princes and to all the people, The judgment of death is due to this man, because he has prophesied against this city, as ye have heard with your ears. 12 Then Jeremiah spoke to the princes, and to all the people, saying, Elohim sent me to prophesy against this house and against this city, all the words which ye have heard. 13 And now amend your ways and your works, and hearken to the voice of Elohim, and Elohim shall cease from the evils which he has pronounced against you. 14 And behold, I am in your hands, do to me as is expedient, and as it is best for you. 15 But know for a certainty, that if ye slay me, ye bring innocent blood upon yourselves, and upon this city, and upon them that dwell in it, for in truth Elohim has sent me to you to speak in your ears all these words. 16 Then the princes and all the people said to the priests and to the false prophets, Judgment of death is not due to this man, for he has spoken to us in the name of Elohim our Jehovah. 17 And there rose up men of the elders of the land, and said to all the assembly of the people. 18 Micaiah the Morathite lived in the days of Ezekias king of Judah, and said to all the people of Judah, Thus saith Elohim, Sion shall be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem shall become a desolation, and the mountain of the house shall be a thicket of trees. 19 Did Ezekias and all Judah in any way slay him? Was it not that they feared Elohim, and they made supplication before Elohim, and Elohim ceased from the evils which he had pronounced against them? Whereas we have wrought great evil against our own souls. 20 And there was another man prophesying in the name of Elohim, Uriah the son of Samias of Kiriath-Jearim, and he prophesied concerning this land according to all the words of Jeremiah. 21 And King Joachim and all the princes heard all his words, and sought to slay him, and Uriah heard it and went into Egypt. 22 And the king sent men into Egypt. 23 And they brought him thence, and brought him into the king, and he smote him with the sword, and cast him into the sepulchre of the children of his people. 24 Nevertheless the hand of Achikam son of Shaphan was with Jeremiah, to prevent his being delivered into the hands of the people, or being killed. Jeremiah 27. 2 Thus said Elohim, Make to thyself bonds and yokes, and put them about thy neck. 3 And thou shalt send them to the king of Idumea, and to the king of Moab, and to the king of the children of Ammon, and to the king of Tyre, and to the king of Sidon, by the hands of their messengers that come to meet them at Jerusalem to Zedekias king of Judah. 4 And thou shalt commission them to say to their lords, Thus said Elohim Jehovah of Israel, Thus shall ye say to your lords. 5 I have made the earth by my great power, and with my high arm, and I will give it to whomsoever it shall seem good in mine eyes. 6 I gave the earth to Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon to serve him, and the wild beasts of the field to labor for him. 8 In the nation and kingdom, all that shall not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, with sword and famine will I visit them, saith Elohim, until they are consumed by his hand. 9 And hearken ye not to your false prophets, nor to them that divine to you, nor to them that foretell events by dreams to you, nor to your auguries, nor your sorcerers, that say, Ye shall by no means work for the king of Babylon. 10 For they prophesy lies to you, to remove you far from your land. 11 But the nation which shall put its neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him, I will even leave it upon its land, and it shall serve him, and dwell in it. 12 I spoke also to Zedekias king of Judah according to all these words, saying, Put your neck into the yoke, and serve the king of Babylon. 14 For they prophesy unrighteous words to you. 15 For I sent them not, saith Elohim, and they prophesy in my name unjustly, that I might destroy you, and ye should perish, and your prophets, who unrighteously prophesy lies to you. 16 I spoke to you, and to all this people, and to the priests, saying, Thus said Elohim, Hearken not to the words of the prophets that prophesy to you, saying, Behold, the vessels of Elohim's house shall return from Babylon, for they prophesy to you unrighteous words. 17 I sent them not. 18 If they are prophets, and if the word of Elohim is in them, let them meet me, for thus has Elohim said. 19 And as for the remaining vessels, 20 Which the king of Babylon took not, when he carried Jeconiah's prisoner out of Jerusalem, 22 They shall go into Babylon, saith Elohim. Jeremiah 28. 1 And it came to pass in the 4th year of Zedekias king of Judah, in the 5th month, that Ananias the false prophet, the son of Azor, from Gabaon, spoke to me in the house of Elohim, in the sight of the priests and all the people, saying, Thus saith Elohim, I have broken the yoke of the king of Babylon. 3 Yet 2 full years, and I will return into this place the vessels of the house of Elohim, 4 And Jeconiah's, and the captivity of Judah, for I will break the yoke of the king of Babylon. 5 Then Jeremiah spoke to Ananias in the sight of all the people, and in the sight of the priests that stood in the house of Elohim. 6 And Jeremiah said, May Elohim indeed do thus, may he confirm thy word which thou dost prophesy, to return the vessels of the house of Elohim, and all the captivity, out of Babylon to this place. 7 Nevertheless hear ye the word of Elohim which I speak in your ears, and in the ears of all the people. 8 The prophets that were before me and before you of old, also prophesied over much country, and against great kingdoms, concerning war. 9 As for the prophet that has prophesied for peace, when the word has come to pass, they shall know the prophet whom Elohim has sent them in truth. 10 Then Ananias took the yokes from the neck of Jeremiah's in the sight of all the people, and broke them to pieces. 11 And Ananias spoke in the presence of all the people, saying, Thus said Elohim, Thus will I break the yoke of the king of Babylon from the necks of all the nations. And Jeremiah went his way. 12 And the word of Elohim came to Jeremiah, after that Ananias had broken the yokes off his neck, saying, 13 Go and speak to Ananias, saying, Thus saith Elohim, Thou hast broken the yokes of wood, but I will make instead of them yokes of iron. 14 For thus said Elohim, I have put a yoke of iron on the neck of all the nations, that they may serve the king of Babylon. 15 And Jeremiah said to Ananias, Elohim has not sent thee, and thou hast caused this people to trust in unrighteousness. 16 Therefore thus said Elohim, Behold, I will cast thee off from the face of the earth, this year thou shalt die. 17 So he died in the 7th month. Psalms 142. 1 Psalm of instruction for David, when he was in the cave, a prayer. I cried to Elohim with my voice I made supplication to Elohim. 2 I will pour out before him my supplication, I will declare before him mine affliction. 3 When my spirit was fainting within me, then thou knewest my paths, in the very way wherein I was walking, they hid a snare for me. 4 I looked on my right hand, and behold, for there was none that noticed me, refuge failed me, and there was none that cared for my soul. 5 I cried unto thee, O Elohim, and said, Thou art my hope, my portion in the land of the living. 6 Attend to my supplication, for I am brought very low, deliver me from them that persecute me, for they are stronger than I. 7 Bring my soul out of prison, that I may give thanks to thy name, O Elohim, the righteous shall wait for me, until thou recompense me. Psalms 143. 1 Psalm of David, when his son pursued him. O Elohim, attend to my prayer, hearken to my supplication in thy truth, hear me in thy righteousness. 2. And enter not into judgment with thy servant, for in thy sight shall no man living be justified. 3. For the enemy has persecuted my soul, he has brought my life down to the ground, he has made me to dwell in a dark place, as those that have been long dead. 4. Therefore my spirit was grieved in me, my heart was troubled within me. 5. I remembered the days of old, and I meditated on all thy doings, yea, I meditated on the works of thine hands. 6. I spread forth my hands to thee, my soul thirsts for thee, as a dry land. Pause. 7. Hear me speedily, O Elohim, my spirit has failed, turn not away thy face from me, else I shall be like to them that go down to the pit. 8. Cause me to hear thy mercy in the morning, for I have hoped in thee, make known to me, O Elohim, the way wherein I should walk, for I have lifted up my soul to thee. 9. Deliver me from mine enemies, O Elohim, for I have fled to thee for refuge. 10. Teach me to do thy will, for thou art my Jehovah, thy good spirit shall guide me in the straight way. 11. Thou shalt quicken me, O Elohim, for thy name's sake, in thy righteousness thou shalt bring my soul out of affliction. 12. And in thy mercy thou wilt destroy mine enemies, and wilt destroy all those that afflict my soul, for I am thy servant. Psalms 144. 1a Psalm of David concerning Goliad. Blessed be Elohim my Jehovah, who instructs my hands for battle, and my fingers for war. 2. My mercy, and my refuge, my helper, and my deliverer, my protector, in whom I have trusted, who subdues my people under me. 3. Elohim, what is man, that thou art made known to him? Or the son of man, that thou takest account of him? 4. Man is like to vanity, his days pass as a shadow. 5. O Elohim, bow thy heavens, and come down, touch the mountains, and they shall smoke. 6. Send lightning, and thou shalt scatter them, send forth thine arrows, and thou shalt discomfit them. 7. Send forth thine hand from on high, rescue me, and deliver me out of great waters, out of the hand of strange children. 8. Whose mouth has spoken vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of iniquity. 9. O Jehovah, I will sing a new song to thee, I will play to thee on a psaltery of 10 strings. 10. Even to him who gives salvation to kings, who redeems his servant David from the hurtful sword. 11. Deliver me, and rescue me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth has spoken vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of iniquity. 12. Whose children are as plants, strengthened in their youth, their daughters are beautiful, sumptuously adorned after the similitude of a temple. 13. Their garners are full, and bursting with one kind of store after another, their sheep are prolific, multiplying in their streets. 14. Their oxen are fat, there is no falling down of a hedge, nor going out, nor cry in their folds. 15. Men bless the people to whom this lot belongs, but blessed is the people whose Jehovah is Elohim. Psalms 145. 1. David's Psalm of Praise. I will exalt thee, my Jehovah, my King, and I will bless thy name forever and ever. 2. Every day will I bless thee, and I will praise thy name forever and ever. 3. Jehovah is great, and greatly to be praised, and there is no end to his greatness. 4. Generation after generation shall praise thy works, and tell of thy power. 5. And they shall speak of the glorious majesty of thy holiness, and recount thy wonders. 6. And they shall speak of the power of thy terrible acts, and recount thy greatness. 7. They shall utter the memory of the abundance of thy goodness, and shall exult in thy righteousness. 8. Jehovah is compassionate, and merciful, long-suffering, and abundant in mercy. 9. Jehovah is good to those that wait on him, and his compassions are over all his works. 10. Let all thy works, O Jehovah, give thanks to thee, and let thy saints bless thee. 11. They shall speak of the glory of thy kingdom, and talk of thy dominion. 12. To make known to the sons of men thy power, and the glorious majesty of thy kingdom. 13. Thy kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and thy dominion endures through all generations. Jehovah is faithful in his words, and holy in all his works. 14. Jehovah supports all that are falling, and sets up all that are broken down. 15. The eyes of all wait upon thee, and thou givest them their food in due season. 16. Thou openest thine hands, and fillest every living thing with pleasure. 17. Jehovah is righteous in all his ways, and holy in all his works. 18. Jehovah is near to all that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth. 19. He will perform the desire of them that fear him, and he will hear their supplication, and save them. 20. Jehovah preserves all that love him, but all sinners he will utterly destroy. 21. My mouth shall speak the praise of Jehovah, and let all flesh